Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. Mr. Gaming Counselor. Scholars, I didn't actually ever take the time to address it, or maybe I did, I forgot. The Christmas tree is gone. We're in February, the Christmas tree is gone, but I never did mention that it's actually not gone. I haven't even boxed it up. I put it in the dining room that isn't a dining room because I have like a small little table that I use for like Magic the Gathering. But it's just over there in the corner. I was like, I kind of moved it. You know, we went from one room to the other room, and then the box is still in the kitchen in the cubby corner. Yeah, the saga of the Christmas tree will eventually be concluded. But today, what we're talking about is Destiny. Oh man, it's like a trend of what's been going on. It's crazy, right? But today we're specifically talking about reacting to a new YouTuber, as you can see on screen, Mr. Bradley the Bradster. I saw a little bit of game videos with him and like Passed Across. He's new to the Destiny world, and as you can tell, he's getting in there. I don't know how long he's been playing Destiny, but it looks like he's pretty freaking fresh. But he reacted to It's Tizzle, which I reacted to. And so we're going to react to a react, and we're going to see how, from a new player perspective, spoiler, I kind of looked at the comment section a little bit. And so I'm kind of already know what to expect a little bit because a lot of the comments weren't happy with him. I also had someone comment on my video before I did the reaction to It's Tizzle. And someone mentioned like, hey, you need to check this out. And so we're going to react. I have not watched it yet. So I'm going to go in blind, and I'm only going to focus on Bradley's reaction. I'm not here to regurgitate the video itself again, because you can just watch the video on my reaction on that. I want to focus on the a new YouTuber. I don't know if maybe he streams on Twitch and he's just not, YouTube may not be the bacon and then the bacon is Twitch. I don't know. But we're going to go in. I don't like the fact that we're starting with disclaimer on this video. It's kind of like a red flag to me. I feel like I don't even know what it is. I just feel like I see disclaimer and I feel like I can understand why some of the comments are not agreeing with him.
This video isn't made to hate or start any type of drama. It's meant to start a conversation that I don't see the community having too often. There's too many echo chambers in the world nowadays, and without conversation, there's no growth. I hope.
Okay, so right off the rip, he's not hating on him, which tells me there's going to be a lot of negative things toward him. I don't know. Anytime I see a video where they say, hey, I'm not hating on him, there's usually some kind of hating. That's me being like, that's a pro YouTube.
Hope you enjoy. We'll see what he says. Bungie has lost the community's trust. See what he says about it.
What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video, I'm going to rant for a bit. I made a video back just before the dawning saying that Destiny is in the worst state
I didn't point out, but I'm going to point out now. I haven't watched this video, so I have no idea what's in this video, like the one he's referencing to.
Ever seen. And I didn't mean that from a player engagement or community sentiment perspective. I meant it purely from a this game doesn't work properly perspective. And a week after that video, the dawning dropped with a litany of performance issues. So many things were broken with the dawning, which is quite shocking to be honest, because it's a completely recycled and reused event that hasn't changed in like 5 years. So for it to be so broken is quite baffling. We had also had a ton of issues with the new Dungeon Vespers host, which saw hunters not able to use Tether for numerous months. That is just wild to me. And then their so-called fix for this was to reduce the number of servitors, which has had damning effects on the Raynix Unified encounter. You see, the boss health pool is balanced around there being 10 servitors, so when they dropped it to 6 but didn't adjust the health pool, it now makes that boss much harder. What I originally praised about that boss was its unique design, that it relied on a damage strategy that we've never really seen before in Destiny. Basically, every boss is a single target. Sure, some have very short damage windows like Aatrax, and others have super long damage windows like the Corrupted Puppeteer, but basically every boss in the game is a single target. So Raynix was a breath of fresh air as it brought value to area of effect damage strategies. Relying on ignitions, consecration, glacial quake, blade barrage, and waveframe grenade launchers for your damage meta options was really nice. But then this haphazard fix has only served to make this once cool and unique encounter an absolute chore, reducing the number of bosses on of effect damage.
Okay, that's not a good. Hold on.
Hey there. You're listening
Whoa.
to the State of
What?
Survival.
All right. So that was really good timing. The ad threw me off. What the hell?
Way less effective, while still meaning single target meta options don't work either.
I think it might be his video.
So now you just have a boss encounter that is not balanced properly. And that boss design segues perfectly into my next topic, which is a Zoetic lock set. Truly one of the most unique boss encounters we've ever gotten. What is so cool about it is the player has full control over how to manage the encounter. You can do a bunch of short burst damage phases, or 1 or 2 super long damage phases. It allows for such a variety of damage options to work.
Some good damage.
This boss is also the motivation for me making this video. You see, since launching, crits do not work on this boss with a big eye for a crit. Bungie has acknowledged this themselves, saying when damaging Shrieker bosses, players receive critical damage feedback, but damage is actually regular base damage. And this is where I have a huge problem. For a long fucking time.
Okay, so this is already no offense to this guy, no hate to this guy, but it's already stupid because it's a very complex engine that they're running. It's a video game. It's not going to be perfect on release. Like genuinely, has nobody in this community ever played any other game ever? Bro, there's bugs and glitches all the time when
Okay, time out. We are like 3 minutes into his video. Like 3 minutes in his video, and I don't even know, like he was like a minute, 2 minutes in to It's Tizzle's video. He's already saying, dude, it's a game. They have bugs. I'm gonna address this. We're having a conversation here. I doubt Bradley will ever see this, but for conversation starters, that is a shit eater mindset, and nothing to him specifically. Like this is a problem with the gaming community where they just eat shit, and we have games that come out half baked. I mean, what point do people stop eating shit? This is not what he's saying is bullshit. Oh, well, games there's going to be bugs. There's a difference from a funny haha Skyrim bug, and then there's game breaking bugs like Vesper's Hosts, where people were being locked out and couldn't even play the game because it would break. Well, currently, 0 Hour is disabled. You can't even play that content because it's broken. Again, there's like little bugs, you know, funny hee ragdolling, and then there's I can't, this content is actually broken. I don't know. I feel like he's starting off with a disingenuous statement.
they release new content. This is just a stupid argument, honestly.
Now things have been releasing broken and not working as intended. Kinetic.
But they say broken. It's not broken because you can still beat the boss.
He is absolutely correct. Like, there's a difference between being disabled and you can't play, and it's not functioning the way it's supposed to. So yes, there's he is completely correct. But I don't think that dismisses the theme of what he's trying to present, that the game is buggy and it has things that are broken, and it's a problem. The quality of the game is going downhill. Again, I like that he said that we need to have a conversation, and he is only 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and he's saying he hasn't even watched the full video, and he's saying it's a dumb argument. Bradley, that's not how you have a conversation. You don't just be like, 2 minutes in, this is dumb. What?
People still get through the dungeon. It's not broken. It's just a minor inconvenience. You're seeing crit numbers, but it's not doing crit damage. So the game...
Bradley, it's called a compounding variable. When I know from like a new player perspective, you have no sense of context, and it's ignorant of you, but it's not necessarily your fault. Like, I could go in and play a new game, and I'm not going to understand the history and the context of that video game if I'm new to it. Like, there's a lot of context to Warframe even though I have spent many years, there's many years before it came out. So I don't even know like how it was before I started playing it. So the veterans who've had all those years of experience and they know the ups and downs that I don't know, they're going to be able to give more insights and understanding of the systems than I am.
Game's broken. Like, this is stupid, man. I guess, like I said, no hate to this guy or nothing, but I guess it was just time to pay the bills for a video like this.
Bradley, that's not how you start a conversation. You are 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, and you're already dismissing the entire video by saying, I guess it's just time to pay the bills. This is the problem that I have with new players like Bradley. It's called toxic positivity, where they are in their bubble, where they're not willing to hear any like criticism or anyone's perspective, especially people who have more experience and know what they're talking about compared to him. Like, I guarantee Tizzle has 20 times the time that he has. And so I'm sorry. He doesn't have a right to dismiss anyone else's arguments when he doesn't know what he's even talking about. He's not even trying to have a conversation. He's just like, oh, I've watched 2 minutes and 30 minutes. You're just trying to get, you're trying to get views for your bills. And yeah, this is dumb. That's not a conversation. That is the community needs to sit down and have these hard conversations. But you're not having you've already made up your mind. A conversation is like a two-way situation. You've just like, I'm not listening to this.
It's ridiculous.
You're right. You are ridiculous.
I said I have a problem with content creators that they make videos like this because of the almost 1,000 comments. You got people piggybacking off of what he's saying and saying, yes, this is ridiculous. It's almost like laying off almost all of your QA team is a horrible idea. What's the QA team got to do with crit numbers?
No, stop, Bradley. What do you mean? Bradley, come here. Bradley, come here, Bradley, come here. I've got a serious question, Bradley. Do you play video games? Do you not, does he not know what QA do? Do you not know what QA does? Do you not know? Like, seriously, here's, I need to have, we're having this conversation. Do you know what QA does? Because it has everything to do with the quality control with the game. You know, testing, seeing if it's working. You know, if the QA played their game, they would know that certain things are not functioning correctly. So when you're shooting a Shrieker that's supposed to have crit damage, and it does not have crit damage, which is funny because all you have to do is just start the encounter and just shoot at the big ass Shrieker, you immediately notice, something's not right. You know, if you play the thing, you understand the thing. It's like Magic the Gathering. The card tells you what the card does. You just read the card and you know what it does. You never take the time to actually work with the thing and look at the thing and play with the thing. You don't understand what to do with the thing. And that's what's going on here. Again, toxic positivity is a killer, and it makes me lose respect for these kinds of new players, especially content creators that he's only barely in the video and he's already got his blinders on. He's literally he's blocking out any conversation. He is immediately just, you're wrong. This is stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. It's not a big deal. It's toxic positivity. The game's fine. You're just overthinking it. No, as a consumer, you have a right to criticize it. And you don't even know like the full extent of the criticism or what he's trying to say. You're just immediately like, I like this game. I don't want to hear it. I like this game. Nothing's wrong with it. This is what I'm getting from Bradley.
showing up but not doing crit damage. What's worse is that if it's a bug in our favor, Bungie's pretty quick to fix it. Do you know what a business is? If a business is losing money, they're going to get on it.
Bradley, let's have a serious conversation here. How is Bungie losing money? Now, if you're talking about the game itself, like let's say it's a bug where people are doing more damage, how are they losing money? Like, I'll give you a real example. Let's say there's an exotic from the Final Shape, and it's broken, and it's letting people just like farm raids and grandmasters and like even maybe PvP. It's the best PvP weapon, but you can only get it from the Final Shape expansion, and it's bugged, and it's people are shredding with this thing. Don't you think that would encourage people to buy that expansion just for that exotic? So it's actually the other way around. Now, a good example that he's not talking about, but does fit into the line of what he's saying, is like the Dawning event, where the event card, which is usually paid, was free and people were grabbing it, and Bungie quickly fixed that. And that was benefiting the players, but obviously it was hurting the business. But that's not what he's referring to. He's just saying, it's just, I don't know what he's referring to. I've never heard of that argument of them immediately fixing a bug for the benefit of the player when it has nothing to do with the business side of things.
ASAP. That's any business in life, whether it's video games, music,
What?
some type of different industry, manufacturing company.
I don't, what? I'm sorry. As someone who has had 10 years plus in debate, that's not an argument. That's called like a random, like it's not even a strong arm. It's just you. It sounds like something my debaters would make up just to fill in the gap of like, well, I need something to say, so I'm going to say it. That has absolutely nothing to do with what he's talking about when, like, what they're talking about when it comes to benefiting the player, especially like music and whatever. Like, you're talking about different media. Like, how would a bug benefit music? Like, unless like the website gives you like free music or something. Like, again, this is a very weak argument.
They're going to jump on it instantly. There's honestly not a strong enough argument for the complainer community of Destiny. It's just not strong enough.
You are what? Like, how many minutes into his video? You haven't heard his whole, and you're immediately saying that there's, again, toxic positivity. Bradley, you need to not say these. You were trying to argue against these content creators, like they're people who are criticizing the game are the problem, but the reality is you are the problem. People like you are the problem because you come into a game with the toxic positivity, the roses are red mentality, and you barely play the game. You've barely experienced anything in the game, and you are completely ignorant to the history context of both Bungie and the game itself. And you're telling a veteran with, like I said, 61K subscribers in streaming. I mean, he's literally done contest mode, all these things. Like, he's invested in the game is what I'm saying. He's a veteran with invested time. And you're telling him that essentially that he's wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have an argument. You haven't even heard his full argument. You haven't finished the video. And yet you've already you opened this entire video with, let's have a conversation, but you're not willing to have a conversation. You have your mind set already. And this is the problem with these new kinds of players, and especially these kinds of content creators, is that they like to mask it like they're the good guys and they're willing to have a conversation, but they're not. And the moment he mentioned that he just made this 2 minutes in, he's like, oh, he's just making this video for clicks, for money. That was a self-report. Like, you contradicted, you were being a hypocrite. Like, this is not a conversation. You're dismissing anything. You haven't even finished the video to be able to have the full context to be able to like make these statements. You've barely even scratched the surface. And now you're applying it across the entire community, saying, well, the complainers, like, if you have criticism, you're just a complainer. And yet I have about 56 different bugs that are impacting the entire game that I'm ready to hold on to for the next 2 acts until I do my brutally honest review for Heresy. Like, it's just this insincerity that they try to paint themselves as like, I'm new and I'm willing to have conversations and you're the problem and there's nothing wrong. And I don't like the insincerity. It really bothers me. And I don't know if he knows that he's doing it. Maybe it's not intentional. Maybe it's just like, it's easy. Like, it's funny because he talked about being in an echo chamber, and he's already in his own echo chamber. I like this comment, by the way. QA potentially would have play tested pre-release to see if it was a thing, which is exactly. I mean, it's like, and I like this. It's a AAA company, unacceptable. Exactly. Like, why are we being doormats for a $1 billion company? Like, I think it's fair as a consumer when you buy a product to hold a $1 billion company accountable for a product that you purchased. I think that's acceptable. We don't need to protect the $1 billion company.
People want to bring now. We've gotten so far away from them sunsetting content or vaulting content, whatever you want to call it, that you can't really use that as a talking point anymore. It was so much further along in the past. They said they're not doing it again. The only conversation that
Bradley, let's have a conversation here. First off, you're absolutely wrong. So let's start with you can't talk about it anymore. Imagine you buy a Tesla, right? You buy a Tesla and then the company decides, you know what, you have the ability to let it drive for you or you drive yourself. Suddenly, they remove the feature of being able to drive yourself. Now you can only let it drive you. They took away the ability. You paid for the car. You had the product the way it was. And then the company decided, you know what? We're taking this away from you. That's not okay. That will never be okay. It doesn't matter if it's a year or 5 years or 10 years. You paid for a product. The moment that they take that away from you, you have every right to complain and criticize and demand it be returned to you. Because if it was in that situation, you would take that car back and demand a refund. I'm just saying. That is not a valid, it's not a valid argument. It's been so long. Who cares? People gave their money. Like, you know what? Let's go to the next point because I'm going to bundle this conversation up, Bradley, for you. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to teach a new player so you know how wrong you are, and that bursts your the toxic positivity bubble of the roses are red. Because your second argument was they said they wouldn't do it again. What if I were to tell you that sunsetting has been here the entire time? Hold on to your butts. All right, Brady. Here we go. So this is the sunsetting, right? Technically, these two are also part of these are part of the sunsetting as well, because this stayed. But this is technically part of the sunsetting when they start doing seasons. But overall, you could say either or because it was announced that they would be going away. But we could put them here. So this is all sunsetting. We have the Red War campaign and the Leviathan Raid, Curse of Osiris, Warmind, Forsaken, the Black Armory, Season of the Drifter, Opulence. We have Season of Rivals, Season of Undying, which Season of Dying technically came out with what's currently in the game, Shadowkeep. When then Season of the Dawn was also still with that. Same thing with Seraph, or not Seraph, the Warmind. I forgot what it's called, but essentially they all were removed, right? So Bradley, you're saying that they never will sunset again. These are all the seasons that we've had. We have Season of the Rivals. We have Season of the Hunt, Season of the Chosen. This is supposed to be Season of the Splicer, Season of what was it? What was before Witch Queen came out? It's not Season of the Chosen. Here, I got the cheat sheet. I got my cheat sheet. There's like one season I forgot. Hold on. Season of the Lost. Oh, yeah, because this is when Osiris was taken over by Savathun. Season of the Haunted. Season of not Defiance. Fiddlesticks. Risen. Okay, they were very forgettable seasons. Season of the Plunder. Season of the Seraph. Season of Defiance. Season of the Deep. Season of the Witch. And then season of the Wish. And then we have our current episodes, which we don't know the fate of these just yet, but all of these had their own activities. They all had their own cutscenes. They all had their core story and plot points, and you had to pay for all of them. Guess where they're at now, Bradley? This is all paid content. Guess what happened? Yeah. Are you starting to realize, Bradley, that your statement is incredibly wrong? This is what's in the game. This is all Destiny 1, so ignore that. This is what's in the game right now. This is what used to be in the game. This is all paid content. This is also all paid content that is no longer in the game. When you look at it from a different viewpoint, Bradley, you realize that you can't trust everything that Bungie says. Tell me, I want you to be honest with me if you're watching this, Bradley, and I hope he does. I hope he does. I want an honest conversation here. Tell me a successful live service game that makes you pay for seasonal content and even paid content that does this right here, that removes this much content from the game. Tell me one successful live service game that does what Bungie has done. I would love to find out what those games are and to see how successful they really are. Because I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to say a successful game probably isn't doing this at all. Not unless it's free. You know, it's one thing it's free, you know, sure. Fortnite does rotations and it's free. But all of this, people paid for all this content. And the only thing they got to keep, from these seasons, the newest seasons, the sunset, all the weapons disappeared. Like, you don't have access to any of that gear anymore. Well, that's not true. Now you do, but it's outdated and most people deleted it. And you can't go back and get some of these guns anymore unless Bungie brings them back in the game, which is what people have been wanting. But most of this, the core story, like you think about from a new player perspective, how much story has been removed from the game. And I don't understand how you, Bradley, can be so like in a bubble about sunsetting and like, oh, would they, like, there is so much. I guess it's so easy to just look at a 3-hour video from My Name is Bife and say, oh, there's not a problem. But the fact that you have to watch a 3-hour video from My Name is Bife to get the story that's missing is a problem. Like, we can all agree that you should not have to watch a YouTube video for the story that should be in the game, but is not in the game because they removed it. Okay, let's continue.
We can use to combat that is to maybe have one with them to, can we bring it back? Is there a way to bring it back? Blah, blah, blah. And
Bradley, I say this, I'm trying not to be sarcastic or rude or disrespectful. Do you think people just said, oh, you're going to take away paid content and just, you know what? That's cool. Just take my content away. Did you not think, like, I'm not going to be sarcastic. I'm going to not be around the bush. Day one, even before day one, people were saying, no, don't take my stuff. No, we don't like that. They take the stuff. We want it back. Please bring it back. A year later, we want it back. We're trying to have a conversation. Bungie, can you bring this back? 3 years later. Please, we want this back. Where's Leviathan? Where's this? Where's Red War? My friend wants to play Destiny, but there's no way to explain the story because the base story of Destiny 2, the whole point of Destiny 2, which is the Red War, is not in the game. Here we are, 2025, and people, guess what? Still asking Bungie, hey, can we get the core part of the game back? There's a story that was Destiny 2. Can we get that? It's been 10 years. We have the conclusion. Can we have the beginning? Because literally, you play Destiny 2. There is no beginning to Destiny 2. There's a conclusion in the final shape, but there's no beginning. So I don't know what your argument is here, because it's almost like you're in a bubble and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Instead of just complaining about it. It's like getting cheated on in middle school and you're fucking out of college now and still complaining about the same fucking thing.
Again, that's not even relatively close of an argument. That is like a nothing burger. You're talking about a relationship with someone else versus a paid product that people paid for. Unless you're saying that you paid to own your ex-girlfriend. Yeah, I own you. I'm sure there's laws against that, but you're talking about owning a paid product versus a relationship where you don't own someone else for legal reasons. It's not the same thing. It's, again, very disingenuous.
It's
I don't like new players who he doesn't have a valid argument. Like, I want to point out, like, the conversation that we're supposed to be having, there's not a single valid argument in anything he says. Not a single one. There's not a valid criticism against criticism. He's boxing it up of the points he's made is, oh, you're just trying to make money. It's stupid. Just have a conversation with them, bro. And you're just trying to make money. Oh, and you're just complaining and you're the problem. That's the arguments those are the points that he's made so far in this conversation.
I see this side of the community sometimes when I post a video and my video goes viral and it reaches a new audience, and this new audience is just regurgitating the same opinions that they heard their favorite content creator say. But their favorite content creator just needed a video to post so that they can DoorDash for the rest of the week. It's fucking stupid.
That, again, he's only 2 minutes and 30 minutes in. He's already made these statements. And he's not directly saying it's Tizzle, but he's bundling everyone up. Like, he started this conversation from this video that he's making, talking about content creators. Like, he's essentially like, I'm not directly talking about you, but I'm taking you and all these people that I think are a problem, and I'm bundling you up. And he's already dismissing any criticism that people may have and saying, you're just going for clicks and views and you're trying to get DoorDash. Like, again, toxic positivity. There is nothing wrong with the game. It's you're the problem. I don't like new players like this. Like, there's a difference from new players who are enjoying the game and they don't understand, and they may ask questions like, okay, I see a lot of people complaining. What's the problem here? What's the context? Then you have people that just, I like the game. You're stupid. You're wrong. You're the problem. I won't hear it. Nope. There's nothing wrong with this game. I like it. It's almost the way I think the perfect way is like if I started playing golf for the first time and then I saw Tiger Woods and he's criticizing the sport, saying, there's issues. You need to fix this. And I started golf and having a good time. And I go up to him and say, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. The game's fine. I'm having a great time. You're just being a hater. Meanwhile, this dude has like all these achievements and he has so many hours in the sport and he knows more about the problems than I will ever know. And that's exactly what people like him are. I'm sorry. And it's not directly hating. It's just people who think that they know everything and they know nothing. And that's what I find annoying, is that new players who think they know everything and that they dismiss criticism like, oh, I know more than you and your criticism is completely invalid. You're just one DoorDash.
Stupid argument. See what else he's got to say. Now we're done.
You can't say stupid argument, but you haven't even completed the video, bro.
Shitting on him. See what else he's got to say.
Impacts, the seasonal artifact mod from last season is a great example. However, at least you could visually see something was up. You could identify it. How the hell can you identify you aren't getting crit damage when the game is
Evil
telling
Duck,
you
yeah.
you're getting crit damage? We had heard
That's
about
another thing. People are now one-phasing this boss, but we're complaining about.
this bug, so my team and I
Again, compounding variable. He's being dismissive because I'm gonna be honest. Someone said in my comment section in my video reacting to It's Tizzle, they point out the video was fine. It's just It's Tizzle focused way too much from the content creator aspect, and I think that's the problem. That he's being a single track mind of he's looking at the video talking about the dungeon, and he's focusing the entire thing on just the dungeon. And It's Tizzle kind of lends that, unfortunately, because he's doing it himself. But there's bigger problems in the game than just bugged Shrieker.
tested Whisper of the Worm, and our wipe screen damage was way off from
Yeah, It's Tizzle's way focused on this.
But I'm a YouTuber who records on OBS, and I can do a recording and then watch it back and add up the numbers. How many?
I mean, I can see from a new player perspective, like he's focused on like this video is flawed and will be dismissed. Like I understand what he's saying, but that's because I'm also hyper, critical of Bungie in the game, and I've been here for like since the beginning of time with 10K hours. Like I understand the whole historical context of the game and the flaws that it's had. But he's focused on content creation and not like the everyday new Andy. And so they're not going to connect with you with that.
Average players are doing this? Way less than 1%. That's for damn sure. So what the fuck are average players supposed to do? Destiny 2 is a complicated enough game as it is.
Unless there's a big argument, for the sake of time, I'm going to let it roll out and try to package multiple things into one if I'm going to have a conversation, just because we're like 30 minutes in and we've got still like 13 minutes. So I'm just going to let it play a little bit.
But then when you think something in your build should work because the game tells you it works that way, and then it doesn't, it's just truly hopeless. I started my channel because I loved testing things in this game. My highest viewed video ever is me testing a seasonal artifact mod. I used to love jumping in day one of a new season to test out the mods and see how they all worked. And by and large, when I made my video explaining how they worked, that is how they worked, and they worked as the description said. Now, you can't trust a single fucking thing these artifact mods say. It says it is supposed to work one way, and then it doesn't. And you don't know if you are the problem or the game is. And this is a huge issue. Another issue on the Zoetic Lockset boss is that weapon surge mods don't seem to be working, and I believe this is true. On my contest clear, I had Sleeper Simulant and Sanguine Alchemy,
Okay.
and I wasn't missing
I don't know if he's going to say anything, so I'm going to try to fast forward
any
this.
shot. Exotic
Kind of nerfing his damage and it's on contest mode. Okay, I can get behind him on that one a little bit.
Okay, what's the
Damage
statement?
and it's on
for 10% from marking the target. So
Okay, so with this point, him saying that something doesn't work and it's kind of nerfing his damage and it's on contest mode. Okay, I can get behind him on that one a little bit. I can get behind him on that a little bit by saying if he was racing to be the first, if he was on the team to try to race to get the first one, yeah, that sucks and that's unfortunate. So
I mean, I don't even think that's what, like, maybe that's what he was talking about. I don't even think that's what he was talking about. Maybe he is, and I just completely overlooked that for the fact that he was talking about all the compounding issues, but he's also talking about from a content perspective. So
I can get behind that frustration. And as soon as somebody completes it, it's over.
something was clearly they had done that's part of 5 days. I want that guide to be right now. It isn't because of a crit.
That's content for you, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's content. You're gonna have, man. Is that what?
I know what part he's at because I watched this. Like, this is my third time watching this because I watched it again after I did a reaction to it. Make sure that I miss anything. So this is my third time watching It's Tizzle, but now I'm watching it with Bradley. He's just talking about the contents again. Exactly what I was saying from a new player perspective. It seems like he's over focused on the content side of things with the bugs.
Why?
Non-crit damage where you want to use. Oh, and by the way,
Yeah, they're broken right now. Make it.
Wait, hold on.
So don't worry about that right now. But
Dude. Yeah, they're broken right now. Make a video when they fix it. You get 2 videos with one.
I mean, he's right, but I think he's also dismissing the fact that you shouldn't have to wait for the product you paid for to be functioning the way it's supposed to be. So again, that's the shit eater mentality, and it's just more of a gamer wide issue where people like, I mean, like if we're talking about real shaders, we're talking about this sports scene where they literally Madden players are buying the same crap every year. Like they're shoveling manure down their throat. And that's the problem, right? It's just everyone's accepting all these things, and every time you allow the marker of tolerance is being pushed and pushed, the boundaries are being pushed by the game companies, and you have people here saying, yeah, you know what? They'll fix it later. It's okay. Like, it's the shit eater mentality. And that is going to impact the game overall, is because if you continue to allow them to push the boundaries, like right now, what It's Sizzle's talking about is like, this year has been in a massive increase in bugs and loss of quality. And if we tolerate that, that's going to become the new norm. And that's the problem that Bradley is. Players like him are fundamentally the problem with Destiny 2, is that the quality, it continues to decrease, and we're tolerating it. They're tolerating it. He's tolerating it. And that's the problem, because when you tolerate lack of quality and you don't push back and criticize and say, hey, we are not going to accept this, it hurts the game that people actually enjoy and love. And that's the thing. It's like, It's Tizzle obviously likes the game to make the videos and talk about it. He doesn't want it to die. But you have people like here who are accepting the bare fucking minimum, and it pisses me off because it impacts my game that I like, because they're essentially allowing the shit eater mentality in the game. Like, I don't want this to become another Madden situation where we're just shoveling the manure down our throats.
One piece of content.
But in the future, this
Zaxby's. Are you feeling hungry? I know. It's the beard. Yum. I don't know. Oh, come on.
is good advice. Trust me, bro. Oh, and in my own testing, we can problem.
I'm pretty objective with my opinions and point of views and stuff. I can always
Taking a particle.
no, so what you just said there,
You're coming in at the end of a cycle. To be honest, the game is great, but this is the worst it's been, truly. There you go. The game is good, but the quality is going down.
Baluku, that's a crazy name. But you're right. You're right. But I'm pretty objective.
I love that the qualifier. You're right, but which means I don't care. That is a anytime someone does a qualifier, yes, but
objective with my opinions and point of views and stuff. I can always look at other people's perspective and take that in consideration and come out with an objective opinion, even though I could be biased. I put my bias aside.
Or 1 or 2 super long damage phase work. But damage.
So this is already no offense to this guy, no hate to this guy, but it's already stupid because it's a very complex engine that they're running. It's a video game. It's not going to be perfect on release. Like, genuinely, has nobody in this community ever played any other game ever? Bro, there's bugs and glitches all the time when they release new content. This is just a stupid argument, honestly.
That's not being objective. That's not willing to hear other people's sides. That is biased. This right here is the definition of being biased. Like, you're not even finished with a video and you've already come to the conclusion that it's a stupid argument.
I'm now
Get through the dungeon. It's not broken. Like this. It's ridiculous. And this is why I said I have a problem with content creators that they make videos like this, because
You haven't even finished the video, by the way.
of the almost and saying, yes, this is ridiculous. It's it. Do you know what a business is? That's different. There's destined content, whatever you want to call
I
it.
don't know. the whole point of you're just trying to get views, you're just trying to get DoorDash, like that's not being objective. That's not having a conversation. But go ahead and pop off, King, that you are willing to listen to other people.
No, so
You're not.
What you just said there, a coup with an objective.
I mean, this video is very hypocritical. Everything he said is fundamentally not true. He doesn't have actual arguments. He doesn't actually have a conversation. His mind is already predetermined before even finishing the video. And everything he says is just not true. Oh, I'm objective. Meanwhile, he already at the beginning dismissed the entire video saying it's a dumb argument. Everything's just dumb. You're just trying to get I don't like content creators who make videos like this because you're trying to get clicks. You're trying to get your DoorDash. You're the problem with the community. Like, Bradley, at what point is this a conversation and what point is this objective? You're not being objective. You're being subjective. You're being biased. You're also making yourself look like an ass. And I say that in the nicest way possible. You look like a jackass because you are dismissing an entire argument without even completing the video from beginning to end. You've already dismissed all the whole video and classify it as just for clicks or for DoorDash, and that it's the problem. You can't just say, and then someone calls you out, your own chat calls you out, that you're coming in at a cycle that you don't know what you're talking about. Like, well, but you're right, but I try to know people's sides. You're not even doing that. You're not even trying to understand its Tizzle side. You're just dismissing it. You're creating toxic positivity, and you're essentially downplaying the issues in the game and saying, oh, well, that's just games. As if that it should be acceptable that we should get product that's defective. You know, when you allow products to be defective and you allow things to not be tested, you get issues like, you know, all the Boeing crashes, the airplane, people dying. I know that's a 100 from 1 to 100 example, but I think that's a perfect example of why people expect product to work. Because when it doesn't work, it causes issues. Luckily, you don't die from playing video games, but if it's easy for me to buy something and not, if it doesn't work, okay, you know what, I'm going to be mad and move on. But if you are you have a kid or you have a family, or maybe you're scraping by and Destiny is like one of the only games you have, you get home from a long day of work. Guess what? You would like the product you bought to not be a buggy, broken mess. And yes, there are broken parts of the game. Literally, I have an entire list of things that are actually broken about Destiny. It's such a dismissive video.
Opinion, even though I could be biased.
You are biased. I just want to hear
exaggerating to make a point.
It's not an exaggeration,
but it's creating a mob-like mentality.
No, so here's the thing. 90% of the player base left, and it wasn't because of a couple creators criticizing the game. Those people gravitate to those people criticizing the game because they play the game. They also like the game, and they would like the game to improve. And so that's why they follow these people like myself who are not afraid to say what needs to be said instead of the toxic positivity, because people paid for product and they're not getting what they want out of it when it comes the bare minimum any product should be quality and that it functions. That's the bare minimum. And Bungie isn't even doing that with a product. So overlapping and saying any criticism, like he is, and he's not being specific of what kind of complaining. He is latching everything into the complainer. Like he's not qualifying thing. He's just saying all these people are complaining, but he's not qualifying what is complaining. What's considered complaining? He's just saying everything in the video is not true.
For Destiny 2 haters that still continue to play the game. It could be.
And they're not haters. there are people who do hate the game and want it to die. Then there's people who enjoy the game but criticize it. Criticizing does not mean hating. Now, people hate Bungie. I do. I hate Bungie. I would rather Destiny be run by a different company. Yeah, I hate Bungie. I think they're incompetent and worthless, and I feel bad for the devs that are stuck working under the leadership, because they're probably devs that are bangers, and then there's developers who probably need to get kicked out of the company, and so long, so farewell. I don't care. But no one, like, this group, again, he's not qualifying. What is a Destiny hater? Is it people who give valid criticism, or is it people that saying game is dead, lol? Like, that's a Destiny hater. Game dead, lol. But he's giving valid criticism about the function of the game, and he's putting everything into one pocket. And that's not a conversation.
Be at its worst, and that's fine, but it still ain't that bad.
Deconstruction.
It may be at its worst, but it's not that bad. Like, how would you know? How would you know? Like, I don't even want to finish this video, and I know I'm going to point out that is very hypocritical of me if I don't finish the video, because I called him out for making that. But he made his point from the very beginning of this video. He made his bias known at the start of the video when he qualified everything as a dumb argument, and that this is just another, like, he has told us what his viewpoint on this entire video is before he actually completed the video. So even though I am admitting that if I don't complete this video, it is very hypocritical of me in that regard, but he has made it known from the very beginning his viewpoint of everything.
Unintentionally back anymore.
One specific thing and one encounter here for a dungeon that came out 2 weeks ago. Yeah, you're right.
He's not wrong, because again, he's hyper focused on the dungeon, but he's also ignoring all the other issues in the game.
And then Happy, you're also...
People are wild. It's literally a game. You paid nearly nothing for it. I hate this argument. It's so, like, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. You could say you paid $1. You have every right to criticize something. It does not matter whether you pay $1 or $100. If you give a developer or a company your money, you are a consumer. You have every right to provide criticism. And don't let shit eaters and dumbasses like this, these people who, I don't understand the gaming community where from like back in the day where people expected quality from video games. At what point did gamers decide to just become doormats for billion-dollar companies? When did we say, you know what? I'm okay. Please step on my face. Use me like a dirty little hoe. That's being very excessive, but you know what I mean. Like, use me like your French girls, your Los Angeles walkers or whatever. Like, use me like I'm $2 sucky. Use me because I have no self-respect as a human being and as a consumer. Use me. Even though you have generational wealth, you and your family are going to live better than me and my family will for generations. Please use me. I don't understand that mentality from gamers and the industry, like just across the space. I don't understand this. It does not matter how much you spend on a game. You have a right to demand quality. And in Destiny's case, it's just wanting the game to work at the fundamentals. Like, that's the thing. The product of Revenant is completely broken.
So right. Sorry, I keep pausing.
Either, but it's hard to tell. Also, the poison from Necrotic Grip doesn't work.
I'm just skipping ahead.
Care about your... Can't take a damn thing at face value in this game anymore, and it's driving...
Okay, this is where Sizzle kind of wraps things up, so I want to see what he says.
Dedicated players like me who used to love to test and tinker. All I can say is good riddance, and I can't wait to move on to Monster Hunter Wilds and hope that Capcom releases a polished game at launch.
Me too. I can't wait to move on to Monster Hunter as well.
I spoke in another video recently about how the best way to play the game is to wait a few months after release, and Heresy is proving that theory more right than I ever could have imagined. I kept the focus on the bugs in this video, but I'm also no fan of all these time gates. Time-gated dungeon exotic catalyst, time-gated Barrow Dyad perks. Let players play your fucking game.
Okay. That point is not a bad point. That point's not a bad point. For some things being time gated, you could look at that as a positive. And looking at this situation as this stuff being time gated, like the Nether and all this stuff, it eliminates the possibility of there being actual game breaking bugs. So if they at least
Comment section. Tell me in the comments down below. Do you think he knows? Because I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows that Bungie create their motto is velocity over quality, and that Bungie essentially does everything ahead of time. Like right now, they're working on Frontiers, where a small team is probably tinkering with the current episode. It doesn't work like that. They don't go act by act. It's already done. It's already set in stone. So no, there is no reason for time gates, like, at all. It doesn't work like that. They might have a small team that can tweak things, but most of the content is set in stone.
release a little bit at a time.
I'm just going to skip it.
So that's one part that's positive.
Okay.
The gate, very demoralizing and disheartening to be like, wow, so I got to wait a week to do, more of this seasonal activity. So
yeah. Welcome,
I can get
new
behind
player.
that idea. I can get behind that.
Anyways, rant over. Bungie, thank God.
I think we can all agree that was a stupid line.
Okay. Bradley, you're good enough, at least in my book, that you agree that this is a stupid line.
Backtrack on that line there, over delivered.
Actually play.
2025 is in
2025 is such a great year for gaming.
Ridiculous. That's a ridiculous. Come on, man. Hey, brother, that's a ridiculous thing to say.
Wait, what is?
That's a ridiculous. You are being ridiculous.
Wait, what? What'd I miss? Okay.
From now on. I speak for a lot of people when I say I would way rather get less frequent content drops, but know that I can actually play the game as intended.
Dude, you are being ridiculous. Bro, he sounds like... That is so ridiculous. That's a ridiculous... Come on, man. Hey, brother, that's a ridiculous thing to say.
No, it's not. What he's saying is, Bradley, what he's saying is, I would rather have less content and then have well-polished content that is working and has quality, which I think most people agree they would rather have. Like right now, we have disabled content in the game. We have Revenant, which is just the previous episode, is full of bugs that are breaking the fundamentals of that content. People can't even continue. Like if you didn't play last episode and you just bought the content, people are not able to do the quests because it's hard breaking them. Like, he's not being ridiculous. You're being ridiculous because you don't know what you're talking about. And again, this is I'm just a new amateur novice telling Tiger Woods that he's wrong and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Meanwhile, the dude has years of experience and I should shut up and learn from him.
Because you can still play the game, just some things are broken. Like it's genuinely, it's not like you're unable to do activities. It's not like he hasn't even brought up 0 Hour. Because remember when we did 0 Hour and then we did the ending of Expert twice and we didn't get the drop and then they took out 0 Hour to fix it? It's not like that. It's not like the...
So he knows about 0 Hour being bugged. Like he's completely ignoring the entire problem that there is this big issue of constant bugs. Like the quality of the game is going down, but he's just kind of like, I don't know where his mind's at. I would love to just crack open and just really understand what is going on in his mind.
Dungeon underwent fucking some type of maintenance that took it offline. You can still complete the activity.
Rather than walking away pissed off because the game I once loved is damn near
Would say shit like that. To say the game is unplayable. What are you...
I mean, it is. Literally parts of the game are unplayable. What are you talking about? Again, there are literally parts of the game that are unplayable. And there has been. Vesper's host has had constant, for the past how many months, constant bugs that literally break it.
Talking about? That is so ridiculous. You can't...
Again, this is the toxic positivity that completely ignores the constant issues. Like, again, I have an entire list. Cannot wait to do my brutally honest review of Heresy because it's going to be a mile-long montage. I'm going to speed run all the bugs to showcase how many problems are in this fucking season alone. We could have a 2-hour video going over all the bugs in the year alone that have broken the game.
Let people say that. You can't let your content creators get away with saying this.
I just
that
can't.
want to jump on his.
I just wish or you got to pay.
It's not a good talking point. Probably not a bad guy whatsoever, but it's just not. It's not a good talking point. It's really not a good talking point, and this really does the update a disservice. I feel like if you wanted to,
I just again toxic positivity. Literally, I have things that have to do with the update. Again, we could sit and spend another hour just talking about all the things that have been broken in this game. Again, I can't. I actively want to encourage people not to listen to people like this because they don't know what they're talking about. So let's go to, I haven't read this yet, but I saw this. Sizzle did reply. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, so I respect yours and you respect mine. Just gonna address a couple of things. 90% of my video are just on the game, not negative content whatsoever. Again, there's a difference from hate and negativity when it's literally criticism about the game. Like, he's not going for the throat. Like, I go for after Bungie and their crappy practices of MTX. He's literally just talking about the quality of the game. Also, I never order DoorDash. I cook at home every night. I made the video like I do all my videos out of the passion for the game I love or used to love, not for money. Again, people who give criticism, who still play the game, can do that. You can play a game and give fair criticism. Again, it's not like he's saying game dead, lol, or I want this game to die. It should die. Bungie should just cancel this game. Like, there's a difference from hate and criticism, and Bradley is bundling it together. The one point I disagree with the most is the point about comparing other shit games and even sorrier states as an excuse for Destiny 2 to be in a poor state of quality. Again, there's no excuse for being a shit eater. Fuck every company that releases broken content on launch. It is unacceptable, and the gaming sphere has been harmed by it time and time again. Do not defend their shitty practices. Don't be a shit eater. This lets them think it's okay. I have a good redemption arc like I love a good redemption arc like No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk, but imagine, if you will, if Cyberpunk had launched how it is now. The game would be hailed as the greatest game ever. Shame they rushed it. It's nice to see many others. It's nice to see so many others rushed games stumble. Though deservedly so. Discord, Battlefield 2024, Halo Infinite was rushed and terrible, and it failed as a result. I have countless other games recently. Consumers need to push back against these things and let the companies know it isn't acceptable. Exactly. Don't be a shit eater. You, as a consumer, have a right to demand quality. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $100. If you pay for a product, you don't have to be a doormat for a multi-billion-dollar company. Don't be a shit eater. So saying, oh, what, a few bugs, XYZ, game is worse, that's just not a good argument. No, there is not a single good argument in this video at all. Bradley has not given a single good conversational piece. It's all one-sided. It's all roses are red, toxic positivity. There's no problems. You're overdoing things. Like, this is a hypocritical lie of a video. Like, the whole point of we need to have a conversation, and he's not having a conversation. From reading what I've read in your comment section, you seem to be new to Destiny 2. I'm genuinely happy for you that you've been enjoying it. I've said for ages that if the game released today with all the content that offers, it would be massively popular. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think let's move on. More than Marvel Rivals. Again, I don't think so. Endless builds to make and content to play. but it's a 7.5-year-old game. It is extremely intimidating for a new player to jump to. The player base is dwindling despite how good it is at base level. However, the quality of the game has undoubtedly gone down because they rush things because they are ready, and this isn't a debate. It's a fact. You haven't been there along the way. I fully admit that I am long-term Jade player over 7th hours. This is a nice way of saying, I have more hours than you. Shut the fuck up. That's what I would like to say to any new player that says that thinks that they know anything. Like, I have more hours than you. You have no right to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about or that my criticism isn't valid. And that's what this whole video is about. It's just dismissing 99% of the criticism that is being delivered. Again, it's not hate. It's valid criticism about the quality of the game, and it's being completely dismissed. And I just don't agree with that. It is 100%. It is 100% a death by 1,000 cuts. Exactly. You're adding compounding variable. When you look at it in the macro level, if you look at it just like, oh yeah, the dungeon has a bug. Okay, whatever. But if you look at the macro level and see you see all the dots on the graph, you see that there's a line trending downward. But when you see these same issues popping up release after release, and they are getting more frequent and more egregious with every update, finally you reach a breaking point. Hence my reason for making the video. Anyways, I specialize in solo endgame content. Yeah. What? I hear you, brother. The DoorDash comment was definitely just a joke. No, it wasn't. Listen, I've been trained to work as a clinician. Literally, my degree's in psychology, my master's degree. And I wanted to be, before I became a school counselor, I wanted to work as a clinician and be a therapist. We get trained to know facial expressions, and that his facial expressions, his gestures, his posture, his everything it wasn't a joke. There was no ha-has, no smiling. This is what I get from my 5th graders when they call someone they get in trouble because they called someone fat. I was just joking. It was just a joke. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't directed as an attack on you. Yes, it was. You literally grouped up him, like you pointed at his video saying that he was just going for clicks and views. And then you pointed out to your viewers saying, you should not give people like this the time and day because they're a problem. They are being overly negative. They're having dumb arguments. They're hating to hate, and they're just trying to get money for DoorDash. This is a absolute lie. It's just a comment to make the audience laugh. No one's laughing, and it didn't mean anything more than a surface level joke. No one was laughing. It was more of a generalization rather than finger pointed at you. Again, you group. It doesn't matter if you guys. I made a racist joke about black people, but I wasn't talking about Joe over there. I was just generalizing the black people. I made a racist joke, but I wasn't saying directly you, Joe. I didn't say the N-word to you. I made a joke about it to the whole African community. So it makes it better, right? I should probably joke less in the future serious videos as people, there's no laughing. Oh, the only laughing was what seemed as man, this is stupid. Like that was the kind of facials that I got from this. I think you're both right. Yeah. I enjoy Tizzles, and that's why he's so frustrated. It is a detail polish that's become very rough in recently, which most people associate with layoffs. On the flip side, positivity, optimism is what? No. Optimism is one thing. What Bradley has is toxic positivity. It is a bad thing. It is bad. Yeah, I just, there's no conversation being had here. It's insincere. And from the moment 2 minutes and 30 seconds into its Tizzle video, he already came to a conclusion. He dismissed the video. He completely dismissed any argument. He wasn't willing to listen to and he already had a bias, subjective view going into this. There was no conversation, and every point he made was not an actual point or argument. It was illogical. It was invalid. It had no merit. It was, I feel like this, so I think you're wrong. There was no logical premise of it. Like, again, he pulled stuff out of it. It seemed like he pulled stuff out of his butt as an argument, where I gave an example of the Tesla saying, hey, you paid for it and they're taking features out. That's not okay. You have a right to criticize them. Whereas he's talking about, oh, well, if my ex-girlfriend breaks up with me, you know, I need to get over it. We're talking about a paid product versus a relationship, and those are two fucking different things, unless you're saying that you bought and own your ex-girlfriend or whatever. Like, again, this is an hour-long video, but I've been wanting to talk about new players like this, that they're toxic. They completely dismiss valid criticism. And then when you catch them, you call them out and you catch them with their pants down, they shrink and they're like, it was just a joke. Listen, I didn't mean anything by it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This isn't like, there's no, you know what, Bradley? Next time, don't ever do these again. Don't ever, like, in fact, if you're going to do this, I think what you should do as a new player, you only have like, what do you have? Like, he has 7,000 compared to this guy. I don't even know what this guy has, like 400, 300, 100 hours probably.